Hello, and welcome to Career 101. In this episode, we're going to talk about internships. And let's start with what even is an internship? And then we can dive into why you should or should not, in my opinion, get one. So an internship is a short-term job with a company. And many of the times you'll see it'll be for some portion of the summer. So you might, between college years or even after college, theoretically, get an internship. So it's a full-time work often. It's for an extended period of time and it has a fixed end date. So let's talk about why you should get an internship. So we'll share the screen here. Go into presentation mode. And here we go. So should you get an internship? As I said, yes. Why? For many reasons. One, they're a great way to try something out. You may be a person who knows exactly what you want to do when you get working full-time. Good for you. Go for it. No problem. I had a friend who in high school knew she wanted to be a vet, went to vet school, became a vet, owns a veterinary clinic right now and loves it. So there are some people like that. I have another friend who tried something and it didn't work out at all. So it's a great way for you to test the waters of, do you want to do this career? Do you want to do that career? And think of it as an extended job interview. So let's say you go and you have an 8-week assignment over the summer. This is a way for you to get a sense of, is this the environment you'd like to work in? Is this the role you'd like to have? I had a buddy who didn't do an internship, but reached out to a doctor and asked if he could go spend a day in the hospital with him. And he got lucky and the guy said yes. He spent one day in the hospital, in the emergency room, and realized this is not for me. So it's good for him to know then, as opposed to going through medical school only to learn it later. So think of the internship as an extended job interview. It's a way for you to demonstrate, let's say you like the role, you like the people. It's a way for you to demonstrate to the company and the people there why you're valuable, why you're someone they should consider to hire full-time later down the road. And you may come back. It may be that you decide later down the road that this is something you want to do long-term at this company. And if you performed well at the internship, they're more likely to have you back. And that does happen quite a bit. The other reason, they're really, really helpful on a job, on a resume. If you're just finishing college, your resume could be really thin if you haven't done any internships. It might be you're talking about the sports you played or your grade point average or your majors. But I don't know if you ever tried to write a resume having just graduated college without doing internships. It's pretty thin. So it really helps to have an internship or 2 or 3 on your resume when you're finishing college. Not just because it shows you've taken the initiative and gone out there and done some things, but it also gives the interviewer, the person interviewing you, something to talk about, something for you to gravitate on and form a conversation, and for you to demonstrate why you add value and why you're someone they should be considering. Next thing I'd say about internships is don't worry how long it is. It doesn't have to be 3 full months of summer to make it worthwhile. I have a good friend who's provided, I think it's 100 internships to date for people at his biotech firm. He says now he can make a 2-week internship meaningful. The key is more important than time, just to get some exposure and get a flavor of what it's like to come to work full-time in this industry or at this company. So don't worry too much of how long it is. If you really want to do that family vacation, or you really want to do a road trip across the country, whatever it is, you can still fit that in, but do something that is the right length of time for you. If I were to make up a number, I'd say a 6-week internship is a great way for you to get a flavor for it. You should get paid for the internship. but don't expect a lot. There's some companies, it doesn't happen much anymore, that don't pay you for your internship. When I was between business school years, the internet boom was going full throttle in 1999. And at that time, people were giving unpaid internships. In many states, I don't even think that's legal anymore. So you should get paid, but don't expect a lot. It might be if you go get an internship in some sort of industry where you're working in an office building, a kind of business job, maybe you're getting $5 an hour more than minimum wage, maybe more, who knows? If you're between business school years, you could be getting quite a bit more. But if you're in between college years, you're going to get something more than you would if you went and worked minimum wage in retail. Who knows about comparing to restaurants when you incorporate tips and everything, but you should do okay. But you should get paid. If someone's not willing to pay you, that might be a bit of a red flag. Why is it that they're unwilling to pay you? Is that internship in such high demand? Or is the company a little lean on finances? They're kind of in startup mode and they don't really want to pay, or they don't have the money to do so. But I would be wary of a company's not willing to pay you. Next, ideally, you don't have to do this, but ideally, if you're in college, you've got 3 summers between your 4 years of college, ideally go try 3 different internships. That way, you can even try different industries. And especially if you're still figuring out what it is you want to do, it's a great way to get a taste of what these might be. And gosh, I've read many, many resumes in my day, probably hundreds. And to see someone who's done 3 internships, they might have gone in different industries, or they might know the industry they want to work in, but they've done different roles within that industry. It really distinguishes them and gives the interviewer a level of confidence that they've got a flavor of what they want to do. And probably the last and could be the most important is keep in touch. This kind of ties back to point 2, where think of it as an extended job interview. Even if you say, this is not the industry I want to work in, or I don't want to work for this company, chances are you're still going to meet a person or 2 or 6 that you feel has taken an interest in you, or you've taken an interest in them, or you feel, hey, I would like to one day be like this person. Keep in touch. You'd be amazed at how many people do not do this. I would say 90% of people who have the opportunity to keep in touch with someone who could help them throughout their career do not do so. So what does that mean? It means every 6, every 12 weeks, every 6 months, you're sending them an email, you're reaching out for a cup of coffee, you're letting them know what you're doing. It could be an email that just says, hey, here's what the last 6 months have looked like for me. This is what I've been focused on. This is what I'm seeing as the path I want to take moving forward. You never know when that's going to pay dividends down the road. And I would also say people in general like to help others if they're further along in their career. So don't be shy about that. So that's why you should get an interview, in my opinion, an internship, in my opinion. I think it's a great way to try some things out. I think it's a great way to get exposure to the company, and hopefully you have some fun with it. So hope you enjoyed it. If you liked it, please hit the like button, and thanks for joining. Bye.